Welcome, everybody, to the Hounds podcast. This is your home for field trialing and deer dog hunting. It'll be stories and discussions on the world of dog hunting. So let's drop the gate, cast your hounds, and get ready for another episode of the Hounds podcast. The Hounds podcast is proud to partner with Outdoor Dog Supply again for the 2025 season. Outdoor Dog Supply is the leader in online garment sales with their world-class trade-in programs. These guys are not just a business, they're also houndsmen and women too. They test their products out in the field and really put them to the test. Get the latest in garment equipment, stay locked and ready with field trial equipment, collars, leashes, and so much more. Visit their website today at outdoordogsupply.com, and we want to thank Outdoor Dog Supply for their support not only for the podcast, but in the field trials across the country. When you're looking for your next purchase and equipment, keep Outdoor Dog Supply in mind. Now let's get this episode started, guys. Thank y'all so much. Welcome, everybody, to the Hounds podcast. In this episode, I do apologize. We're going to be riding solo one more time. We had a very, very busy weekend. The Dismal Swamp was this weekend. It's a hunt that I always judge. As much as I can, at least. It was and I'll talk about this in a little bit, and I talked about it on the podcast last week, so I won't dive too far, but if you listen to last week's episode of me and Peyton Lucy, you'll know that that hunt's very near and dear to my heart, so it's one that I try to never miss, and we ended up doing that, and then I had to leave after the second day because I did not realize when I bought the tickets, but we ended up buying tickets to the baseball game that was at Bristol Speedway. Me and the wife have been talking about going down to a major league game for quite a while now, and this opportunity arose, and before I ever even thought about checking what the date was, I bought tickets, and well, needless to say, it was on the same weekend as the Dismal, but you couldn't really just turn them in after that, so we ended up going to the game after the second day, and then we got rained out, and had to stay back for the Sunday game is what it ended up being. So it put me a little behind. I have a guest lined up, but with that catching up to me, and man, I got some other things I'm trying to take care of. I know I keep saying that a lot on here, but I do apologize for that. But I want to work on making sure by the next episode that we have a guest, and I think y'all are going to enjoy it. I think it's going to surprise some people, so I'm going to be working on that here in this upcoming week and making sure that happens. For those watching on video, yes, I am not wearing a hat. I understand that. I got a haircut, and it was still looking halfway decent to how he cut it, so decided to keep rocking with that. But anyway, before I get too crazy far into this thing, let's go ahead and keep up with what we're doing. I know I missed it last week. Last week's episode was a little bit of a rush as well. We're going to start off with our motivational quote. This comes from Mr. Henry Ford. It says, "Quality means doing it right when no one's even looking." I thought that was really, really good. Then our scripture for the week comes from Psalms 109:26. It says, "Help me, Lord, my God, save me according to your unfailing love." I don't know. I read that one, and it spoke to me a little bit, so figured I'd share it with y'all. All right, let's get into this episode. We're going to touch base on a couple things. It's not going to be a super, super long episode, so, you may hear some of our commercials, our advertisements with our partners, kind of back-to-back and a little close together, it seems like, but I just wanted to kind of wrap this stuff up kind of quick. I got a lot of hunts to go over. It's been a very busy 2 weeks. We did not touch base on any results from last week, so I definitely wanted to touch on all those as well. Let's start off with the series, the Penn Series, Hounds Penn Series. The upcoming hunt at Stony Creek will be this weekend. It is a Saturday night into Sunday morning, guys. I'm going to be making a post here probably sometime soon, and may already be out by the time you get to hearing this episode. Registration will be from 10:30 p.m. to 11:40 p.m. on Saturday. Roll call is going to be at 11:45. Judges meeting will be at 11:30, judges. Then we're going to cast at midnight and run till 5 a.m. Sunday morning. 11:40 registration, guys. That's when it cuts off. If you're there at 11:45, sorry about your luck. We started roll call. Don't have your number marked down. Sorry you missed it. Don't be late. Y'all know that I am very serious about that. So, so that is coming up. We got I was struggling there for a few minutes on judges, but we got them all back together. We're gonna have about, looks like, anywhere from 15 to 20 judges down there. So ought to be plenty to watch at that pen. Pretty excited about that. It's gonna be a great hunt, guys. I am trying to finish up. I got most of the numbers out for Flower Hill. I still have guys that I have yet to call, and I do apologize for that, guys. Like I said, my plan was Sunday I was going to be hustling on all this stuff, but the game being delayed a day really put a kink in all that. So do apologize for that. But the money is going to be due by the 23rd of August, so that's going to be next Saturday. My plan is, by the time you're listening to this episode, I'm going to be trying to work on finishing up getting all the numbers out. So I just talked to Mr. Howell, and it's shaping up to be a good little hunt down there as well. Got good judges lined up for that one, and pretty excited for it. So that is going to wrap up the Pen Series news. I will be starting on pools numbers here pretty soon as well. I'm going to hope to maybe get a good jump start on that maybe by the end of the week. But for now, we're going to roll into our little short topic of the week. A few weeks ago, we did an episode on listener questions. We did, I want feedback. I want to hear from y'all. And I've got a lot of great stuff. A lot of people that messaged me were asking questions about getting into it, which really means a lot to me, that people that maybe not even into the sport are picking this podcast to listen to, that they are trying to figure out how to get into it. And this goes across the board. This goes for deer dogs. This goes for your fox pen stuff, coyote pen stuff. You know, either way, a lot of this will relate all to, and I'll separate some stuff in here as well. So, guys, getting into it, this isn't for you. I know we've talked about it hit or miss on some different episodes, but one of the things that I noticed was that everybody was looking for one episode to get it going. Just answers on how to get it going. The Hounds podcast would like to take a minute and talk about our friends over at Cajun Lights. When pleasure running at night or judging those nighttime field trials, you can put your trust in Cajun Lights. With the economical Cajun Bayou for the every now and then light user, the Cajun Micro for the nighttime feeds and around the house times, then the top level Cajun Blinder for those hardcore crossing getters at night. The Cajun Lights are headlamp style light that free up your hands for voice recorders or your GPS. They offer flood style lights in red, amber, and a white walking light. Then the top of the line 4-level main beam light. If you're having a hard time catching crossings at night, give the Cajun Light a try, and the red and amber setting to catch the game without distracting them, and with the easy flick of a switch, go back to your main beam light to catch your hounds in action and get those numbers. Visit their website today at CajunLights.com, and at the checkout, make sure you fill out the survey after your purchase and select Hounds Podcast to receive 5% off your next purchase with Cajun Lights. Now, let's get back to the episode. I'm going to be doing a series on TikTok on this as well, so if you haven't followed me on TikTok, check us out. It's Hounds Podcast. You already know. So go on there. So biggest thing I want to start with is, to me, I think this is the biggest thing, and I guess the way I should really kind of start this off is, these are going to be things that before you even think about getting into this sport, getting into dogs, owning a hound dog, a running dog, a competing dog, a deer dog, I don't care what it is. These are all things that you need to be considering before you even go thinking about a dog. One thing to remember that dogs are not projects. Well, they are projects. They are not cars. They're not video games. They're not a board game. They're not a hobby that sits on a shelf and can be pulled out when it's your convenience. When you get into dogs, they become part of your life. They are living, breathing animals that require attention all the time. And time is what I'm going to touch on first with this. Time is something that you need to 155% make sure that you have the ability to devote time to these dogs. And I'm not talking 5 minutes a day. I'm not talking I want to run these dogs for 30 minutes once every couple months. Oh, when hunting season's over, they're going to sit in their kennels, and I'll get them out next season when I'm ready to use them. There's a lot wrong with that. The running. I'm gonna start with feeding. People don't realize it. I mean, you go and you get. Say you start off. I don't care if you're deer woods. I don't care if you're fox pen. Whatever it may be. And you say, I want to get 4 dogs. Okay. You think, okay, I'm just going to go down there and I'm going to have a bowl of water. I'm going to have a bowl of food. I'm going to throw some food in the pan and rub them on the head one good time and go. Nope. Not quite. Feeding requires going down there, making sure their bowls are clean. It means if it's 105 degrees outside, that you have their clean, cold water in their water bowls. It means making sure their food hasn't sat out overnight and gotten bugs in it. Maybe they just didn't eat all their food. Cleaning their water bowls daily. Cleaning droppings, I guess, is the cleanest way to put that on here. It's not going down there and just doing it. I mean, I have right around 25 dogs right now, and I would say on a very, very quick run, I can knock all 25 out in, say, 30 minutes. But most of the time, I'm ranging anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes doing feeding. That including fresh water, fresh food, cleaning up all the droppings, and checking all the dogs out. Take your time with your dogs when you feed. That's one thing that I hark on with people is, and it's easy to miss. Don't get me wrong. I get in a hurry sometimes, but I try to, at my best, on the daily, make sure that when I go down to the dogs, I'm looking at them all over. If they were playing, got roughed house, and they, found a rock and cut their leg, you need to be mindful of that kind of stuff. So that's the time where you really slow down, take your time, feed your dogs, take care of your dogs. So if you don't have, I'm going to say if you got 4 dogs, you at least need to have 10 to 15 minutes, just to make sure you're doing everything right. And I'm sure you could hustle and get a smooth little operation down, but you're going to be looking at 10 to 15 minutes a day of just feeding. Now you talk about running action. It absolutely infuriates me for my deer dog guys when the last chase of the season is they go in the dog lots and they set up all year till the first day of the next season. Then they wonder why the heck their dogs suck when they get turned out. Anyway, if that's how you're going to be, don't buy a dog. Don't buy a dog. If you're going to run your deer dogs, if you're going to get them exercise, once every couple months, don't buy them. Don't get into dogs. If you don't have time once every week or two to go out and run at least a little bit. I get it. Sometimes you got to force in a run, and it's, maybe you get a 30-minute run, hour run, and you got to call it a day. Everybody's got lives. We all work. We have family. We got stuff going on. But you need to be able to make sure that you're taking a couple hours every, at least once or twice a month and running these dogs like they need to be ran. They're athletes, guys. They're not house pets. They're not dogs you can stick in a crate at the end of the day and say, well, I'll come back out and get you later. These are dogs that need to be worked. They need to be trained. They need to be, everything. There's so much time and effort to make a good dog. And I promise you, and here's the biggest thing is if you're not treating your dogs like this, if you're not treating your dogs where you say, I need to make sure that these dogs are getting taken care of. They're healthy. They're getting trained. They're becoming athletes. If you don't do this, you're going to find yourself hating the sport. You're going to find yourself hating the tradition for the sheer fact of instead of enjoying your time when you go out, you're going to be frustrated the whole time. You're going to be like, why the heck do my dogs suck so bad? Why am I wasting this money on feed when these dogs suck? Then you're going to question it. And it's not their fault. It's probably yours. If you really take and turn these dogs loose on a hunting season or on a field trial and you get your butt whooped or you don't run a deer, they don't jump. They just run around in circles acting like dummies. Before you start condemning the dog, take a good hard look at yourself and find out if you gave them an honest effort and without a reasonable doubt that it wasn't your fault. So keep that in mind as far as your time goes. Give these dogs the attention they deserve. They and I'll speak on your field trial dog guys too. If you want to make a duel, and seems to be a lost thing. This is just something I believe in. And I'm not the best at it. Sometimes I get into spurts where I'm really, really busy and I don't have time to sit around and do it. But if you want to make that duel, make that bench champion, or at least have a shot, practice with them dogs on the bench. I see it all the time. People will go to these field trials and they'll have a good day out in the field. Like, oh, well, I'm going to go put myself in contention to make a duel. Then you put them up there and try to show them, and the dogs look like, just awful. Look stupid. They make you look stupid. Then you get frustrated with them. Don't get frustrated with them. If you didn't take the time to put them up there and put them up on their toes and figure out how to make them work and understand the dog and make them understand what's going on, it's not their fault. It's your fault. That's just an easy example, but, just working with them and finding the time to just interact with them daily. My rule of thumb is if you don't have 30 minutes to an hour daily, don't even mess with them. And if you don't have a weekend that you can run once or twice a month, don't get them. Don't waste your time. We're going to take a quick second and pause this episode and talk about our partners over at Elite Nutrition. Our hounds, they're athletes, guys. They give us their all each and every time that they're casted. Elite Nutrition offers an all-natural products to give your dogs the natural benefits they deserve. From the canine remove and all-natural wormer to the Electro Boost paste for an electrolyte replenishment, body fluid balance, and blood flow improvement. They also have products like Active Dog Powder for recovery and joint muscle support, Essential Dog Powder for daily vitamins and minerals, probiotics, prebiotics, and enzymes, and then the Canine Lactate Powder for nursing dogs to help with milk supply. There are tons of other products for y'all to check out at CajunLights.com. Then click on the Elite Nutrition section to explore. When you go check out, only at CajunLights.com, use the code HTElite10 to receive 10% off your Elite Nutrition products. Again, that's HTELITE, the number 10, to receive 10% off Elite Nutrition products only via CajunLights.com. I've been using their products over the past couple months, and I could not be happier with the results. See for yourself today, and we want to thank Elite Nutrition for taking a step forward into this field trial sport. Now, let's get back to the episode, guys. Next thing is, and my first video with this, quote-unquote series of how to get in the dogs was talking about if you can't take a $100 bill out of your pocket and go in the backyard and light it on fire and laugh at it, don't get dogs. No, that's a joke, guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. You need to have a little bit of money for this. Don't, and this is what's tough about getting into it as a young adult, a young teenager, whatever you want to say, is you need to have these things in mind before you take this jump into hounds. First off is money. You know, dog food's not cheap. A good quality dog food's not cheap. I mean, you're talking anywhere from 25 to 70 plus, depending on what you're doing, for a bag of dog food. And if you got 3 or 4 dogs, hey, I mean, I know I'm feeding a good brand, but a cheaper brand for my deer dogs right now during the off season, just because they don't get ran as much. And I have a lot with 3 deer dogs in it right now, and I'm going through a 50 pound in about 2.5 weeks. So I mean, that's not a lot, I know, if you're only buying for 3 or 4 dogs, but you gotta consider too, when it gets to hunting season, you're gonna want a little bit better quality or a little bit better protein fat combination. You know, that's just something to think about. It's going to add a few dollars to it, you know, and by the end of the year, you know, maybe you end up with a pack of 6, 7, 8, and you're going through 50 pounds every week and a half, 2 weeks. Maybe that's just where you're at. Just consider the price of dog food. Also, you got to remember, guys, these dogs are going out in the wild. They're living outside. They're going out in the wild. Who knows what they're getting into? Who knows what they're going to run into? I've seen sticks shoved through feet. I mean, heck, I watched a guy's dog at a field trial here recently cough up almost a 2-foot long stick. I'm assuming while the dog was barking in the fox pen, he ran into a stick with his mouth open and it went straight down his throat. You know, that could have been really, really, really ugly. You know, it's luckily unfortunate for the dog, but I mean, if that stick would have took a wrong turn, if that dog would have done something weird, but you know, it's freak accidents like that where you need to be ready to spend the money on vets and health and conditioning products. Excuse me. You need to be able to have medications, wraps, or excuse me. All kinds of different items on the ready for any kind of dog. You know, if you got a dog that's just all he does is deer hunt, still, you need to have bandages ready, maybe a staple gun ready, something that's, okay, if I go across a barbed wire, or maybe a bear come across and I got to work on stitching this dog back up where he got slashed. You know, there's a lot of different scenarios where it says, hey, you know, I need to have this ready, and then if push come to shove, if you got to go to a vet, you need to have that vet bill money ready. So legit, when I'm joking, all jokes aside, when I say you need to have $100 bill ready to burn and just laugh at it, I'm not far off on that. You know, and then if you're getting into field trial as well, guys, buying the dog's only half the battle. If you're going to these pens, you got to talk about cost of running, pleasure running. You know, you got to look into having whatever kind of medication you think you need for the hunts, entry fees for the hunts, gas money for the hunts. It's not cheap going to a hunt. It used to be, but now it's not anymore. You know, those days are not existent. I don't know. That's a whole nother subject for another episode, but you know, really, really consider the cost on things, and that's something that if you have questions about, you don't know, just ask somebody in it. Another thing is resources. This one's kind of a very broad spectrum. Excuse me. It's a very broad spectrum, but alright guys, one last interruption real quick on this episode. Want to take a second and give a big shout out to our friends at Low 10 Outfitters. Our apparel for not only the podcast but for the pin series for this year is up and live. If you visit low10outfitters.com, you can purchase your Hounds Tales podcast apparel. There'll be hats and t-shirts. And then if you're a part of the pin series or want to just help out with the series and go order some shirts, don't forget you can get those shirts too. It's going to be shipped directly to your door. Then if you're also looking for custom apparel for your kennel or just a dog in general, whatever you want, check their whole website out. There's plenty of stuff that they offer with great products. Thoroughly impressed with everything that I've gotten from them. I still have a hoodie that when I first got into this sport, I got, this has been 3 or 4 years ago now, and it has not lost any life in it yet. So be sure to check these guys out, low10outfitters.com, and thank y'all. I want to thank them for their partnership, and thank y'all for listening, guys. All right, let's get back to the episode. If you live in the inner city, don't buy a damn deer dog. Excuse my language. If you live in a subdivision, maybe you'll get away with it, maybe you'll get lucky, but more than likely, you're going to have dogs that are barking, you're going to get complaints. You need to be able to have somewhere to house these animals that is not going to bother nobody. It's not going to be too far away from your house. It's, maybe it is in your backyard. If you got the land and you got the availability, then go for it. But make sure you have somewhere to house them, and then you have to make sure you have somewhere to run. I know a lot of guys, and don't get me wrong, there are some pens. There's pens out there, especially if you're down a little further south. There's pens that you can call on a whim and say, hey, man, I need to get in. I need a pleasure run. And sure, yeah, come on, get in there. But up in certain areas, you need to make sure that you're able to actually get in if you're going to fox pen hunt. And then if you're going to, deer hunt, you need to either be part of a club already or be willing to run on state forest and be okay with that. But you need to make sure that you have somewhere to run these dogs. That's two of the biggest resources that are kind of external that I can think of. And this really kind of goes across the board as well. If you've never been a part of it and you've gone maybe once, that does not justify you knowing what you're talking about with dogs. It does not justify you saying, this is something I want to do. This is something that I'm going to go buy a living creature and wing it from here. No, you need to learn. You need to get a little wet under the ears before you start thinking about these kind of directions. So what I would say is, and this goes across the board. It goes for the fox pen stuff as well. Here's my biggest advice. Go with somebody. I don't care if it's deer hunting. I don't care if it's field trial. Find somebody that's in it. Don't be upset if you have a hard time messaging somebody that you don't know, or maybe you can rub shoulders somewhere and you can get in. Go with somebody, learn the ropes, watch them before you even think about purchasing a dog. Make sure that this is something that you truly enjoy, and that you're like, yep, I want to dedicate this percentage of my life to these dogs and doing the best I can with them, no matter what field. Join a club, go judge hunts, just ride along with somebody, just go to a hunt and witness it. It's lots of things that you can do to figure it out if you want to do it, but go with somebody, ask them questions, heck, even offer to go help them feed, or, teach them, ask them to teach you how they feed. There's lots of things that you can do as somebody wanting to get in. But you just have to make the effort. You have to kind of swallow the idea that you're going to have a dog in a month. You need to almost be considering, depending on time of the year, that it may take me a couple months. It may take me a year to figure out systems, to figure out what I'm looking at, to figure out what I'm doing. I promise you, if you can find that patience and watch before you jump, you'll probably be more happier in the long run. And that's a good segue into my last little topic here is patience. If you don't have patience, don't get dogs, because I promise you they will teach and test you in every single way possible. It is very aggravating sometimes. There's a lot of different things that make it aggravating, but you got to be able to find patience with stuff. And that means if you're on the outside, it means irate, people that just don't like deer hunting with dogs, dog hunting in general. If you're in the pens, be patient with getting pen time. Be patient with placing in a hunt. Be patient with everybody in the sport becoming used to you and figuring out who you are. You got to be able to have some patience in all this stuff, guys. That's a quick, very, very, very quick run out on this. I'm sorry if I did sound a little rambly and a little unprepared, but this was a very last-minute thing that I decided on, and I hope that maybe some of the guys that were asking questions listened and hope they learned something. So let's get into the last little section of the episode real quick. We're going to jump right into the score. So here we go. It's now time for the Spotlight, presented by Cajun Lights. This is where each week we will recognize winners and other accomplishments across the field trial world. Now let's shine a light on these guys and these dogs, and let's get to this week's winners. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go back to last week, and let's start with the Le Bonheur Children's Hospital hunt. I forgot to write the amount down, but I want to say it was like $113,000 raised last weekend at the Le Bonheur Children's Hospital hunt. Everybody involved with that hunt does such a great job, and I really hate missing it every year, but I do hope to make it down there one time soon, but just got to make it happen. So the winner of that hunt was a dog named RHK's Paleface. That is out of Hartwick's Rocky Top and Hartwick's Ivy from Kevin Ritchie. Also last weekend, the Big Rock National Derby was held down at Caskey's, Foxhound Training Preserve. The best mouth, and y'all pay attention, y'all hear this one again later, is Suey's, I guess that's how you say it, Suey's Iceman, dogs out of Champion Henderson's Lotto, and Hollow Oaks Red Lady from Suey Kennels. The classiest hound was a dog named D&H Baller out of D&H Milkman and Presley's Izzy from D&H Kennels. And your combination and winner of the hunt was a dog named RNCW2, dogs out of Southern Amacat, and BFK's Mary from RNC Kennels. Moving to this week, and I'm going to give y'all a heads up. Y'all better watch out for these Appomattox and surrounding areas because it was a good weekend for this area. We'll put it to you that way. Y'all can eat your heart out. Come on. So let's start up with the Dar River Derby. Dog is best mouth was Bold Run Reacher. Dogs out of Bold Run Major and Bold Run Wavy from Bold Run Kennels. The Classy combination and Derby winner for this hunt was a dog named Jack 'em Up Slick. Dogs out of Rock Spring Blacktop and Country Oaks Venom from Jack 'em Up Kennels. The Southern Derby was also held this week. The combination winner was Champion ISK's Lemonade. Dogs out of Champion Kyle's Trigger and Champion ISK Sue. The Derby winner was a dog named BCK Sunshine. That dog's out of Caney Boys Red Moon and BCK Pink, from Indian Springs and Big Creek Kennels. Next up, we had the Carolina Shootout. The best mouth also for this hunt was Seaweed's Iceman. Dogs out of Champions Henderson's Lotto and Hollow Oaks Red Lady from Seaweed Kennels. The Classy Dual and Field Champion was a dog named Hollow Oaks Slick. That dog's out of Champion Clark's Moneymaker and Champion Clark's Sugar from Hollow Oak Kennels. Congratulations down there, Mr. Kasky. I still screw it up. I know I do. Next up, we have the Hollywood Derby Masters. The classiest hound was FC's Tinkerbell, dogs out of B&B's Honky Tonk, and champion Old School Susie Q from Field Creek Kennels. The best mouth and combination winner was a dog named Lil Mules Fast, hounds out of B&B's Hank T, and champion Lil Mules Kim K from Lil Mule Kennels. And the new Derby champion for the Hollywood Derby Masters is a hound named RRK's Jesse, dogs out of Southern Styles Hoss and Country Oaks Maria from Roland Royal Kennels. Then also, last but not least, we had the Dismal Swamp FHA this weekend. The start with the Benton Show. The best opposite sex was out of B&B's Black Cat. The dog's name was B&B's Black Cat. Dogs out of B&B's Loot and B&B's Camaro from B&B Kennels. The best in show was a dog named Champion Cypress Pond GT. Dog is out of Champion East Coast Big Papa and Cypress Pond Ivy from Cypress Pond Kennels. The Derby class started with the best mouth, and that would be Uncle Chad's Animal. Dogs out of B&B's Hank T and Sire of the Year, Dam of the Year, B&B's Little Slipper from Uncle Chad Kennels. Classiest hound was Jinx's Ginger, and dogs out of Jinx's Speck and Jinx's Cupcake from Jinx and Ute Kennels. Combination winner was B&B's Chicken Hawk, and dogs out of champion B&B's Boss and B&B's Jet from B&B Kennels. And the winner of the hunt was Uncle Chad's Crook, dogs out of champion B&B's Boss and B&B's Jet from Uncle Chad Kennels. Then, last but not least, the all-age best mouth was Atkins Dorothy, dogs out of Silver Bullet's Big Stick and champion Atkins Runt from Silver Bullet Kennels. The combination winner was J&H Lil Lexi, dogs out of B&B's Hank and B&B's Lexi from Break Right and Crown Royal Kennels. And your classiest hound and field champion is Lil Mule's Birthday Cake, dogs out of champion Clybourne Zeke and champion Little Mule's Harley from Little Mule Kennels. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap it up for this episode. I sure do appreciate y'all tuning in and joining. We'll have a guest on next week to tickle the old ears and for your listening pleasure. I know that sounded weird as crap, but we're going to keep it in here. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for listening. Like always, guys, happy hunting.